Look, I have a story. We all have stories. My goal is to learn as much as I can about everybody I meet so that we can all grow. This is Josh Learns Stuff.
So it is officially the first episode of Josh Learns Stuff, the very first one. I wanted to make sure that this one meant a lot to me. I wanted it to be special. For those of you that are listening to Josh Learns Stuff and you're like, what the hell is Josh Learns Stuff? I travel a lot. I go a lot of places. I meet a lot of people. I see a lot of stuff. And I know that I have a life story. And I want to learn other people's life stories. I want to learn as much as I can about everybody that I meet and interact with and know and am friends with and family. So when I go, I feel like I've learned as much as I can in this world. And by doing these, I'm hoping that other people can find laughter and joy and overcome some sadness and stuff just by listening to these. And I couldn't think about doing this without having probably one of the most important people in my life do this first episode with me. Mr. John Hayden, and I can't call him that, a.k.a. Franklin Embry. I'm just going to call you Frank, just because that's how I have always known you and will always know you.
That's what's up.
Frank has done so much for me, both in the music industry, in the photography industry, in the video industry. And when I started this podcast or started thinking about this podcast, I thought about it for a long time. And I was like, who do I want to be the first episode? Who is the most influential in my life and my career as far as a peer that I look up to, not only as a peer, but as somebody that I actually look up to. And Frank, you were the person that came out right away. And first of all, thank you for so much you've done for me, both for letting me shoot your videos to being on shows with you and everything else. I mean, seriously.
It's all love.
So, Frank, tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do. As you can see, we are doing this over the internet. So go ahead and tell them who you are and what you do, man.
Well, Franklin, my real name is John Hayden. Stage name Franklin Embry. I'm basically I do so much, so it's hard to just put it. My whole thing is putting stuff in a box. I'm trying to get away from putting myself in a box. So I'm just gonna say I'm an artist. So, and I'm a creator. So, if from music to photography to video, I mean, maybe next thing on my list is I'm gonna break out a paintbrush and go Vincent Van Gogh on them. I don't know, but yeah, I just like to think of myself these days as an artist. And I'm from
that's one thing that I absolutely cannot do is paint.
I can't.
Painting is not something that is not up my wheelhouse at all.
Yeah, mine either. But yeah, no, I'm just playing. But yeah, I'm from Owensboro, Kentucky. I don't know. I started in music as a DJ in 1999, and here we are in 2023, and I'm still doing music. It's funny. It's crazy because, like we talk about photography and video, and I just booked a video gig today, and but it's like I've been trying to motivate from music to doing more photography and video, but it's like the Carlito's Way, when you try to get out and it pulls you right back in.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'll get out and then boom, I'll have a verse go viral or something, and it's like, oh, well, now I got to make music. I don't know. It's crazy.
And that's how I originally met you, is through music. I don't honestly originally remember how I stumbled upon you. Facebook somewhere.
Yeah.
But we had roughly the same circles when we were doing music and stuff, and that's how I came across you. And I think I just hit you up and was like, you had the that Sipping on Some Shine song, or what was it called? Not Sipping on Shine.
I'll be on it.
And like, I just fell in love with it, and I hit you up and I was like, dude, I'm like, I'm like, dude, like I love your music, and let's work together. And like it instantly became like a brotherhood from that. I mean, just we've helped each
Right.
other out in so many different ways and stuff. And but I met you through music, and that's kind of the most of the stories that I have. Is, I mean, when we traveled to Alabama and did that show in the
Yeah,
middle
that
of
was
nowhere, and when we went to Kansas City and shot your video, and
that was that was the first time we actually met in person. Was because I was getting ready to release Bourbon for Breakfast, so that was 2016. Uh, I was getting ready to release that album, and that we went to Alabama, and I had 2 shows in Alabama. They were my album release parties in Alabama, of all places. And so
from Owensboro, Kentucky, doing an album release party in 3 states away.
yeah, hey man, the crazy thing is,
But that's the same as me. Like my biggest shows were in Columbus, Ohio. So
Right.
like it doesn't
Yeah.
make. I'm from Wisconsin. Born in West Virginia, but my biggest shows were in Ohio.
But and it's the craziest thing. It's like, you know, it's hometown, like your hometown, they know you. You know what I'm saying? So they don't see you as,
Yeah.
They know me as John, and they know me for all my faults and all my rowdiness and all my craziness, and they know everything about me. So they don't look at me as Franklin Embry. Like you go and, if you came and you ran into somebody and, yeah, I know Franklin Embry. Oh, you mean John? That's, so they don't, like, your hometown don't look at you that way, so it's like, it's crazy. You go out of town, like South Carolina, Wisconsin, Indianapolis, trying to think of places that I really get like a whole lot. Colorado, like my first trip to Colorado to do a show in Colorado, it was 2017. I guess I just released Bourbon for Breakfast, and we were in this little bar in this basement there was a lot of people in there. I was with Twang Around, and I opened up for Twang Around, and I went on stage, and there was people in front singing my lyrics. That had never happened to me before. I was like, what's going on? I'm in Colorado. And they, I mean, their energy was insane. So I don't know.
It's crazy.
You don't.
So how did you go from a DJ? Right. How did you go from a DJ into the hip hop industry? I mean, and produce. I know producing. You've been producing forever. So like, tell me about the transition.
Okay, so like deep down, I always kind of wanted to rap, but I wasn't very good at it starting out, and my friends around me, like Diedrich Royce, who's the TikTok dad rapper, he's got like 100,000 followers. Like he's been my best friend since we were 13. And in middle school, we did the middle school talent show together. That was my first time on stage rapping, and we rapped My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, Well, as we got on through high school, he kept rapping. I really didn't rap or anything, but, I was always more, I wanted to be the Dr. Dre or the Puff Daddy, or, those were the people that I kind of like looked up to and stuff like that. So when he started rapping and he started working on his first album, I was like, here, I want to help you. I sat there and I hit record for him and helped him make beats on like acid loops. Like that's how we started making beats, was acid loops. If anybody is familiar with that.
Yeah.
But so right around the time he was working on his first album, I actually went to a rave. And like it was called Technosaurus, and it was in Louisville, and Bad Boy Bill and Richard Humpty Vision were DJing. And I always thought DJing was
I just saw Bad Boy Bill a couple years ago, and I saw Bad Boy Bill a couple years ago, and like, dude, it's just stuff that he does is just out of this world. But like him and Humpty Vision, like those, I listened to them all the time when I was growing up.
Me too. Like 98, 99, the House Connection CDs and stuff like that. Like right around the time the Go movie came out, and the warehouse rage parties were all the rage and everything. So I remember seeing like I would always sneak into my sister's room. She had this Pioneer record player, and she had like LL Cool J, Jack the Ripper, and the Less Than Zero single. It was like Jack the Ripper was one side, and Going Back to Cali was the other side. Was the B? One of them was the A side, one of them was the B side. I don't know which one. But so I would go sneak in her room when she would go to her dad's house, and I would take this record and I would put it on the turntable, and I would try and scratch it. You know what I'm saying? So I always like, had an interest in that, in like DJing and stuff. And then when I went to Technosaurus and I saw Bad Boy Bill and Richard Humpty Vision, I was like, I want to DJ. So I went and bought some turntables, this, that, and the other. So I started like trying to DJ house music. And then I realized I'm in a little town in Owensboro, Kentucky, where most people don't want to hear house music. So
right,
at that point, if I wanted to DJ, I couldn't play, because I play house music and the dance floor would just, we don't want to hear this techno, play Waylon. Country boy can't survive. So from there, I just kind of switched over to like DJing hip hop mainly, and I got a residency at Club 101, and I try to sneak in a few like little house records here and there. Like I was trying to get Owensboro really bad. Remember when Daft Punk released One More Time? One More Time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh.
Yeah, that like Around the World was at the same time.
Yeah. I was trying so hard to get ones, it just never really worked. But so I just ended up just DJing hip hop, and like I said, I was producing hip hop and for my friends, and then I ended up getting in some legal trouble. I had a couple DUIs. I've always was kind of like a rowdy drinker, and did, I acted out a lot as a kid. And so after I had to go to jail for like 3 months or something. And when I got out, I started thinking, all right, I got to do something, is music really what I want to do? So this was like 2004-ish, and I decided to take off and go to Full Sail. So I moved to Orlando and went to Full Sail, and at that point learned how to become a recording engineer, or, started to learn how to become a recording engineer. I mean, they really only just taught you like what the equipment was and how to use it. They don't really tell you, oh, well, this is gain staging and this is, they basically just taught you how to use Pro Tools. So,
but at that time though, there wasn't like a YouTube that was fully diverse with tutorials and stuff. Like at that time, you had to go to school to learn this stuff.
No, you did. Yeah, YouTube wasn't even around then. I mean, we were still, it was still AOL. So that was right before MySpace. It was like right before MySpace.
Wow.
So yeah, so I went.
So yeah, and you think about that, like, people can learn everything online now that you probably spent months learning, and they can learn it in an afternoon just because there's places like YouTube and online courses like Udemy and stuff like that. It's just crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, I learned how to edit video. I learned how to graphic design, all that stuff I learned off YouTube. So I've learned so much from YouTube. It's not even crazy. So, so I went to Full Sail, and then after I graduated Full Sail, I moved to Nashville and worked at a studio called Omni Sound Studios in Nashville, which that was it's crazy because my time in Orlando, I had so much fun in Orlando. Like, I loved learning about audio. Like, I've always had a passion for learning, especially when it comes to like gear, whether it be audio or cameras I've always just had like, a passion for learning about it. So I had like the best time of my life was in, I was at Full Sail, but as soon as I went to Nashville, it's like all downhill. Because then you really get to see like the industry and like, how, how cocky, egotistical, narcissistic, a lot of these people are. And I was literally working for this studio. Like I was down there I interned before they hired me on as an assistant. I bet I interned like 9 months, just no money, no nothing, just at that studio, just trying to grind and hustle and just do whatever I could, Then they hired me on.
That's crazy to think about.
And then they hired me on and as an assistant engineer. So now I'm getting paid, but I'm getting paid like $300 a week. And I'm literally working like 60 to 90 hours a week. Like it's, So my whole life was in that studio. I didn't have any friends down there. I was just miserable. I was coming back. Nashville's so close to Owensboro. So I was finding myself in Owensboro. Anytime I had off time, I was in Owensboro hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. So, I was just miserable, and I ended up, coming back to Owensboro. And then from there, I attempted to
that's where you went from producer into writing your own lyrics, or like how did that transition?
No, we're not there yet. And from that point, I came back to I haven't decided to rap just yet. I mean, I was playing around and writing songs, and but it wasn't nothing that I was like super confident with or anything that I wanted to put out or anything at that point in time. Like I was just, dipping my toes in the water. I wasn't like really like, hey, y'all, look at me. I'm an MC. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So when I left Nashville and came back to Owensboro and attempted to open up a studio in a little garage and hoping I could make some money that way, but it really didn't go too well. All I ended up doing was just recording my friends for free. You know what I'm saying?
It was just basically a place for y'all to just hang out and party and mess around in the booth.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it ended up being. No, but for real, no. I was putting all my eggs in the Diedrich basket. Who was my best friend. I came back, I opened the studio, and I put, okay, so if I can get Diedrich, on, I can ride those coattails. That was my thing at the time. If I get him on, I'm on. So all my efforts went to getting him, which we were on the radio and I built him up that's when I started like first started, like, I wouldn't really call it internet or social media marketing. It was just I would spend hours upon hours just adding friends to his Facebook or to his MySpace, because the thing with MySpace is that you get a friend request. If you remember, you get a friend request. So you'd go, and as soon as you went and saw, oh, this is a musician, and their music plays automatically. So from the moment you go to their page, you're hearing their songs. So, so I spent hours upon hours.
Yeah,
adding. Do what?
I actually miss MySpace. I miss MySpace. It was so much simpler times when MySpace was around, and you could just pick your top 8 and play songs and customize your website or your MySpace page, and it was just so much better,
wasn't it? And no algorithms where you have to you have to do math to figure out the algorithm. Oh, what's the algorithm doing this week? Oh, so the algorithm only likes me when I'm being emotional. Okay. Let me be emotional this week. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so.
Yeah. Back then, I mean, you just posted stuff, and people, there wasn't even really a timeline that I remember. It was just like you had a profile, and then you just messaged other people. Like, it was straight up like slanging mixtapes out of a trunk, but the digital age of it.
Exactly. So I literally spent hours upon hours a day, like logged into his profile, like sending friend requests. And I actually had this bot that would actually send, like Haystack. I would go to Haystack, right? And I would put him in there, and the bot would send friend requests to all of people that follow Haystack. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was before Haystack was, but
before he was Haystack.
Yeah. But so that's what I was doing, and I was putting all my eggs in trying to get Diedrich on. And then in 2008, I want to say, Diedrich's wife got pregnant, and Diedrich said, I quit. And I was like,
wow.
What? He's like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not rapping anymore. And, it's like, you've invested, like for me, I had invested so much time and effort and to build, everything up for it to just be, gone. So
yeah, just gotten rid of in a blink of an eye. And one side you understand, because I mean, you understand that he's having a family, he wants to be there for the family, but at the same time, it's almost where you have put so much into this that it's like he's almost like stepping on you by doing that. Like, you understand on one side, but on the other side, it's like, damn, dude, I did all this work, put all this time in, and you're just like leaving me high and dry.
Right. And that's how I felt. And it actually hit our friendship really hard. We didn't talk much, we didn't have much of a friendship for probably a year or 2 or maybe even 3 after that. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. And that's, I mean, it can weigh a toll on you, because like you look at it from, and that's why music is such a weird platform to be in, because they always tell you not to work with your friends, not to hire your friends, don't have your friends be employees, don't be coworkers. But like in the music industry, when you're a hip hop artist and you're trying to make it, you have to rely on your friends to help you out, to support you, to have your back, to be on stage with you, whatever it is. So it's like that weird, like double-edged sword where you want them to have their own life, but at the same time, you're depending on them.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing is especially as a hip hop artist, like your team, like starting out, like, for me, like that's all I've ever had as far as a team is like my friends, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love, to be able to pay like a videographer just to follow me around 24, 24/7. And,
Yeah.
and to have, and okay, here we got a vlog for, I would love to be able to afford that. But when you're independent and you got to pick and choose where money goes, and
Yeah.
if I could, if I had the money to have somebody on the payroll right now, I'd do it, but I don't. So, I have to have, hey, Chris,
That's where
take
I'm
this
at.
camera.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now, is like I want to hire somebody to kind of follow me around and document like my sessions and my day-to-day in the studio and going to the school and helping mentor and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, I could pay them, let's say I pay them $20 an hour, but one day I'll only need them 2 hours. The next day I may not need them at all. And then I may need them 5 hours, 6 hours the next 3 days in a row. Like, so for me to find somebody that has just a weird swingable shift schedule is like
Right.
almost unheard of. Like I need
Right.
somebody that like, how do you say, okay, well, this week you may have 100 hours, this week you may have 3, and like,
Right.
oh, this is how you're going to have to, survive. So that's where I'm at, because I'm not at the point right now where I can have like a full-time person follow me. But
Right.
there are points where I'd love to have someone with me just filming some of this stuff.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. And I've been looking for somebody that could just, even if it was a couple hours a day or something, but it just hasn't happened yet. So, someone young, someone that, kind of wants to make, wants to grow and make it into a career. But, and like I said, when you're independent and you're still trying to bring in revenue, you got to depend on friends. It just is what it is. But yeah, he quit. And after he quit, I tried to find a couple other artists. Then, they either didn't have the dedication or they weren't, they had the talent, but they didn't have the social skills, to, they wouldn't do what it took, it wouldn't work hard enough to get to where they wanted to go. And then I found an artist named Raheem, and I thought we were really gonna put something together. Then he ended up moving to Lexington, and then so when he moved to Lexington, I was like, all right, well, here I am on my own again. And that's when I was like, that's when I was like, let me give this country rap thing a chance. Let me try this country rap thing out. This was about 2012 or so, and it took me a while to find my sound and find, get songs that I was like, all right, yes, this one. Even if I go back to that first album, I'm like, why did I put that song on that album? There's a couple of songs that I'm like, ugh. But it is.
Yeah, I have some from back then that was like, oh my God, like, why did I even put that on an album? Why did you even make that? Like, what was I thinking?
Right.
Like, so yeah, I get that.
So at that point, that's when I decided.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so that's when you decided that it was time to maybe try the thing yourself and see where it went from there.
Right. Well, country rap was. All right, I'm just going to keep it all the way funky and 100. And if people hate me, they hate me. At the time,
oh boy,
the rappers in country rap that I was hearing, I was like, that's not it. That's bad. And I mean, that's not good. I was like, dude, I grew up on the farm. I can rap about the farm and I will kill these dudes. Like like, don't get me wrong. There was good ones, you know, like Colt was good. The Lax was good. Charlie, I was a huge Charlie Farley fan, you know, but a lot of it just, what, you know, quality wasn't there. You know, it just it wasn't technically, it wasn't good, you know, from a technical standpoint, you know. So I was like,
and with your background, that was probably super important to you. Like you had that,
Right.
you had the background of the music side of it, the technical side. To hear somebody putting out some shitty lyrics over terrible recording is probably just eating you alive.
right, absolutely. And I was like, you know, I don't know. I just saw like an open lane that I thought that, you know, I might be able to get some traction with, you know. So I was like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, but at the same time, like you weren't faking the funk. Like you lived on the farm. You still live on the farm. Like it's not like you're trying to be someone you're not. Like you are country.
No.
Like there's different forms of country. You know, there's the hunting in the woods country, and then there's the farm country. You know, our
Right.
country up here is dairyland country. So I mean,
Right.
there's different forms of country. But you definitely you weren't faking it when you went into country rap. You're not just like, oh, I see an industry that needs somebody to capitalize on it, so I'm going to pretend I'm country.
No, and that's not what I meant by it. No, I'm really grew up on a cattle farm.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, right?
Yeah, no,
I'm just I'm signing your receipts, just you know, co-signing those, letting people know that you are country. Like,
yeah. I had to haul hay. I really had to haul hay. Back when I'd get in trouble, that was, you're going out on the farm with your dad to haul hay. So I hated it. That's
No.
fun story. Fun.
so
story.
that's
We were
and that's a well, sure.
do what?
Go ahead.
I was like, fun
You
story.
go ahead.
One time, when we were hauling hay, Dad had me out there one day hauling hay, and I had a couple of my friends with me, and so I was on the trailer, and they were stacking the bales, and they were throwing the bales up to me, and one of them threw a bale up to me, and I literally knocked me off the trailer. I thought I broke my ankle. It was bad. I fell off trailer. Oh, it was bad. Yeah. So, anyways,
Oh.
that's one of my
So you started the Franklin Embry thing and started doing music, and that's about, I mean, shortly after that is when I met you, and you did Franklin Embry for a while, and
So-
that went really well, and
So what had happened was, and the way like how we met probably, and how I really got into like country rap is like while I was working on my first album, I was listening to like Colt and Danny Boone and a lot of people like that on like Pandora. So while I'd go to the gym and work out and listen to like Colt Ford's Pandora channel, and Charlie Farley came on, and I was like, whoa, you know, because you know, you hear so many of these mud songs that were I don't know how to explain it. Well, just some of that old Johnny Cobbler. What was that Johnny Cobbler song? Do you know? I can't even think of. Can't even.
Oh, I can't think of it either.
On my buggy or something like that. Something on my buggy. When they take these hip hop songs, basically like a lot of that was, they would take these hip hop songs and they'd redo them like in a country version or whatever, you know. But you hear so much of that, and then you hear somebody like Charlie who's got double time flows and you know, and really like you know, flowing, and it's like, I was like, what the hell? So I got on Twitter, just back when I was using Twitter. I was like, man, I remember the exact tweet I sent out. I was like, most of this country rap stuff I can pass on, but this dude Charlie Farley, he can spit. And I added him, and I don't know, we started talking back and forth, and he was working on a mixtape with Cannon Banyan, and I said, "Oh, you're working on a mixtape? I'll send you some beats." So I sent him, I think it was the Proof mixtape. Sent him like, I think I ended up having like 5 or 6 beats on that Proof mixtape. And
Wow.
so that was like really how I was introduced to like Average Joe's and Twanging Around, because I became their tour DJ. So that's how I met Twanging Around, and I became their tour DJ. And then I was on the road with them filming and DJing and doing stuff like that. And then I stopped touring with them in probably 2016. And that's when I was full on board doing the Franklin Embry stuff. So
it's awesome. I mean, and like the Franklin Embry stuff it's really cool because your music, along with Charlie and some of the other people you mentioned, they weren't trying to be that novelty. You weren't trying to be that novelty country rapper. Like you were telling stories in a hip hop form over a country beat. Like, and that's what I like to do as well. Like all mine were more like party, bonfire drinking tracks. But I mean, I still had the songs where I was telling stories. It wasn't just about, it sucks because my most popular song is Flexed, which was about lifted trucks and has over 2 million plays and all of that. But like most of my songs, they were about just hanging out and partying and stuff like that. So, and that's what you guys did and you still do is you make songs that are telling stories, whether it's a sad story, a happy story, even a party story. It's still, it's in that story form, and it's not just, just like you said, a remake of a hip hop song with a country line over it.
It's not,
it's different.
I never wanted to be looked at as a parody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and let's just be honest, like some of that stuff, is looked at as a parody, like some Cletus T. Judd type stuff. I mean, some of that early stuff, that's just how it was looked at. I mean, that's how, I mean, even still to this day, people, still tell that lame joke, country plus rap equals crap. You hear, I still get
and it was country rap was a kind of a mockery for a long time. Like you can't mix country and rap, and I feel like as much as we don't want to look at it this way, I feel like the mainstream country industry helped the true country rappers out because they were mixing those 808s inside of country music on mainstream radio, which helped the smaller independent guys kind of become more socially acceptable.
Absolutely. I believe that for a fact. But but don't get me wrong, I also still feel like, some probably shouldn't say that. But I feel like the people that say you can't mix country and rap is kind of it's kind of like a racial thing. And I think that's bullshit.
You think so?
Yeah, I've always thought when people say, "Oh, country and rap don't go together," it's the same people would say that about a couple, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know, because country is so white and rap is urban or black or whatever. So you shouldn't mix black and white. I think that's bullshit. But
yeah, I 100% agree with that, like to the fullest.
So I don't know. That's
so you went from doing the Franklin Embry solo thing, and the next up is hiring yourself a hype man and taking the hype man and going from there to the next phase. And Tell me the transition, man.
Okay, so fun fact: me and you were in Ohio, doing a show in northern Ohio somewhere. I forget where it was, but we were in northern Ohio, and we shot the video for Mudshine that weekend, and I went on stage.
Oh yeah, I don't even know. That was that Memorial Day weekend show. So that would have been like this coming weekend, like anniversary for that.
Yeah, so
I don't even remember what city that was.
It was northern Ohio. That's all I know. It was northern Ohio somewhere. And so I opened up, and it was just me with, and I don't even, I guess they did have a DJ or whatever. And then y'all came on stage, and you had a guitar player and 2 hype men, and there was just so much energy. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I have to do something to get, I always wanted a band. My goal was always to have a drummer and a DJ and a guitar player and to have a band, but at that point in time, I was like, man, if I could just get a hype man, that would be better than just me being on stage by myself, trying to own the stage by myself. 'Cause that's one of the hardest things to do as an artist.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I made a post on Facebook, and here comes Drunky, Chris Sham. We nicknamed him Drunky, or I nicknamed him Drunky. So he's like, I'll do it, and I was like, okay. So at the time I was like, well, he didn't really want to be an artist. At that point I was like, I was real iffy about having an artist be the hype man, because I selfishly, I wanted it to be about me, narcissistically, selfishly.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to just be a stepping stone for another artist, I guess, is the honest way to put it.
Yeah.
So I was looking for somebody that was just wanting to play the Flavor. Like I was in my head, I was like, let's put together the country rap Public Enemy. You know what I'm saying? That was that. Chuck D is the MC. And then Flavor Flav was. That was. I don't know, my vision in my head at the time. So Chris came on board, and that first show, bless his heart. Oh, that first show in Michigan. That was his first. Do you remember the Michigan show? That was his first show.
That was at the in Orleans at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so I played there 3 times. Was that the rainstorm night, or was that the following year?
That was the.
I don't remember if the rainstorm was that one. I think the next one was the rainstorm one.
I don't know. I don't really remember that weekend that much. All I know is, okay, so
I remember some things that I saw and wish I never saw again. But
so let me. I got booked for the Backwoods Riot Fest, and Upchurch was the headliner. It had Church, Demon, Struggle was just out of jail. Best Believe, there was so many people on that Backwoods Riot Fest. I got booked on that. I went to Tennessee, not Chattanooga. What's the other one? What's Knoxville? Went to Knoxville, Tennessee to perform. And when I came off stage, this guy said, I really like your music. I was like, well, I appreciate it, buddy. I'm going to give you some liquor. I was like, okay, I won't give you. I make moonshine. I won't give you some moonshine. I said, okay. I thought he was going to give me a jar. He gave me a case. Case.
Oh, that's got to be Sean, because Sean did that for me too.
So I don't know who it was.
Is that?
All I know
Was that?
is I don't know who it was. All I know is
You remember Sean came to that Alabama show and brought like a trunk full of pickle shine and all sorts
yeah.
of lightning and peach, and he would bring
Yeah.
cases to every show, and like that's how I got everybody up here addicted to pickle shine was from Sean.
Right. So I took that shine. This was all clear. So I took that shine back to Owensboro, and I started trying to learn how to make apple pie and this, that, and the other. Well, we had a bunch of them jars, right? We came up to Michigan, and I was like, oh, well, we'll drink just a little bit. We'll drink just a little. I don't know what happened, but we got up there Friday night and started drinking, and from there it was all downhill.
And left on Sunday when you finally stopped drinking.
Yeah, and when we went on stage, man, and I forgot my lyrics, and Chris was like, "This is my first show, and I don't know what to do," and I was just like, dude. Man, it was like I was channeling my inner Little White on that show.
Man, those shows at that racetrack were some of the craziest freaking shows that I ever did. And it was just so much fun. Like, I think of all the shows that I did, I missed that place probably the most. And that, like, era of shows. Like, that was every year they were just amazing people.
That's times when I wish, like, I actually was like these other artists and had my lyrics in the songs.
That's why you have a guitar player that knows your songs and two hype men, and I mean that it wasn't all for the show and the performance. Like, it was because I couldn't remember shit.
Man.
So you went there. I mean, he became your hype man, and then the Bourbon Boys were eventually born, huh?
Right. Yeah. See, we had started going live right around the same time and doing like Whiskey Wednesdays, and I'd figured out like that, like to grow the brand, we just had to be in people's faces all the time. And my original plan was Franklin Embry and them Bourbon Boys. You know what I'm saying? It was more of like a Franklin Embry and Bourbon Boys thing, which would be Franklin Embry, who's the front man, and then Bourbon Boys, which is the band. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like,
right. Yeah, because that's how I had, hands-on in the Alcoholic All-Stars.
Right. And, if you go back to like the old bluegrass days, Bill Monroe and the Kentucky whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The old bluegrass bands used to do that and stuff like that. So that was like my original idea. And somehow it got, I don't know, it just became like them Bourbon Boys, So somehow the Bourbon Boy brand kind of just took over, because that's what everybody was just seeing us as them Bourbon Boys, which I feel like it kind of hurt the music a little bit, because the music was all on the internet as Franklin Embry. So if you went and searched them Bourbon Boys, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think
you couldn't find anything.
Yeah, so I think branding wise, it wasn't like the best thing, because it was so confusing. But you live and you learn. So yeah.
So them Bourbon Boys, I mean, that definitely the Whiskey Wednesdays and stuff. Those had to have taken a toll on you. I mean, you were drinking like just crazy amounts of liquor just to kind of get a ruse out of people. So I can't even imagine.
You know, I look back on it now and I'm pretty like embarrassed by like a lot of the stuff that I was doing, just, you know, chasing views. You know what I'm saying? Like shots for shares, just getting stupid drunk. And then where it really started to take a toll was like, you know, yeah, the Whiskey Wednesday was cool and I got drunk, but that next morning I'd wake up hungover and I'd start drinking. And then the next thing you know, I'm drinking straight through that day, the next day. And then that's when these binges just started to take over my life to where, you know, because we'd go live on, you know, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I'd drink through the weekend. You know, I'd drink from Wednesday, Saturday, and then have this horrible detox, you know, and then the detoxes just kept getting worse and worse to where they, you know, they were getting scary, you know.
So yeah, you can't. I mean, you're drinking all the time, and you gotta just keep up drinking, otherwise you feel like shit.
Right. Yeah. Like, so it was just at that point I was just drinking all day, every day. You know, and
which is crazy.
And the thing is like I wasn't being, you know, productive. You know, like I was never what you would call like a functioning alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I'd eventually to get stuff done. I'd eventually have to get sober, and you know, but that's also, but it's the weirdest thing because that's also when I was the most creative. So like I go on this heavy binge, right?
Which is weird because most people can't do that. I mean, like there are people who can sit down and smoke a joint and just write and create shit. And then like drinking usually mind blocks you. You can't think straight. So that's crazy that you went the opposite direction.
No, it wasn't. It was when I was hungover and coming off detoxing is when all the best music came out. So everything, all the anxiety and, you know, like when you're detoxing, like from liquor and from like a 5-day binge or something, when you're detoxing, like just so much anxiety and so many thoughts and so many like fears and depression and everything to where like your head's so, and then, you know, you write something like 50, you know, so cause that's how I wrote 50 was I was coming off of a binge. I'd been out with Twangin' Round. We went down to Mississippi and then went over to Gatlinburg and came back. We were gone 5 days and I drank the whole time. And then when I got back, for a day, I was detoxing, laying on the couch, was shaking and shit like that. And then the next day I got in the studio, like, God, if I don't calm down, I ain't gonna see 50, you know? And that's how I wrote the song.
Yeah.
So.
And it was shortly thereafter that you decided that sober was probably the way to go. What was that real moment? And I did it for a long time. Now I casually drink here and there, you know, you stopped drinking bourbon and I started drinking bourbon. But for the most part, like what was that hard stop that was like, I'm done. I'm getting out of this. No more drinking. So
anybody that knows me knows like the people that support me like mean everything to me. They mean the world to me. So I went, we did a Whiskey Wednesday, or it was a Tuesday, and we were drinking and we went live, and I don't know, something happened. I guess I said some stuff about a few country rappers or whatever. No big deal, whatever. I ain't worried about that. But but after that, like I kept that. So that next day I woke up and I kept drinking. So that was a Wednesday, and I drank all through Wednesday, right? And I wasn't drinking just Jim Beam. I was drinking Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, which is like 120 proof bourbon. So I drank one bottle. We drank one bottle on Tuesday. Then I drank another bottle on Wednesday, and then I woke up and started drinking again. And Chris came over and was like, "We're going live," and I was like, "Well, let's go live." And I guess they put me on live. And I have a supporter named Sarah Burton, and I still to this day don't know exactly what I said, but apparently I said something not very nice on the live feed to Sarah. And the next day when they told me about that, I was like, no more. I'm done.
Wow, that's incredible, dude.
And that was 20 months ago.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. I mean, it's crazy to think about. And I mean, do you feel like it affected your, I guess, popularity in the music industry? Do you think it hurt? I mean, it had to have hurt them Bourbon Boys, because you weren't them Bourbon Boys anymore.
Well, yeah, the Bourbon Boys kind of fell apart, to be honest with you. Like, don't get me wrong, Chris is still one of my best friends in the whole world and everything like that. But, when that happened, I guess, he didn't really, everybody that was on the team when I got sober, everybody that was on the team, I didn't really talk to as much anymore, so.
And it wasn't, I'm sure it wasn't like, I don't want to talk to them because I don't like them. It's more probably, I don't want to talk to them because I don't want them to feel like I'm a shitty person because they want to have fun and I don't.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, Chris wants, Chris still wants to have fun and everything like that. And, I'm not going to be the one to, people are uncomfortable drinking around me. I went to a video shoot the last time I was in Florida, and, everybody's like, "Oh, I don't mean to be," I'm like, dude, it's okay. It's okay. Everybody's free to drink.
I think
good, but I think
where, when somebody has the right reasons and the right motivation to stop, whether it's drinking or smoking or overeating or anything like that, when they have the right reasons, I think that it's a lot more, it's almost easier to do. Like, I stopped drinking because I had a stomach problem. So like I had to. And I feel like because I took that time off, now that I have a drink or two, I don't feel like it influences me as much as it would have when I was touring and doing music and drinking 2 cases of beer every time we did a show. Where now, like, I can have a drink, I can have 4 drinks and then still be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I don't feel like, me personally, I don't ever feel like I'm letting the alcohol control me anymore. I feel like I can have a drink, I can have a bourbon and have a bourbon and be good. Like, and that's something, like, when you have the right motivation, when you have the right reasoning behind it, I think it's a little bit easier. And it's not one of those where, like, I go to the bar all the time, and when I shoot Dart League, I don't drink, but I go to the bar, and everybody else is drinking around me. But then they're like, oh, when I was not drinking, they were like, oh, how do you go to the bar and how do you hang out in a bar when people are drinking and getting wasted? And it's like, I'm good, man. I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with what's going on in my life, and I don't care. You do you,
Right. No, absolutely. And like I said, like, KG, Chris, man, I still love those guys. It's still all love. It's just, uh, the thing is right after what a lot of people don't know, probably what a lot of people I haven't talked a whole lot about, is right after I got sober, my dad fell and broke his hip. So, when that happened, like, I had to stop touring to take care of my parents. Like, see, like my mom and dad, they had a caretaker during the, that would come during the day and stuff like that. But, they didn't have anybody on the weekends. So, and to hire somebody 24 hours a day on the weekends, you're talking, $20 an hour, 48 hours, you just for a weekend, So at that point, I was like, no, we can't afford to be paying that. So I stayed home and, and basically stayed with my parents I'm still doing that up to this point. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where the touring stopped. And when the touring stopped, that's when the bourbon movies kind of stopped, I guess, because if my dad hadn't have fallen and broken his hip, I would probably still be touring, and I'd probably a relapse.
Yeah.
Went to a show and, oh, we want Frank to take Frank to, pulled the Will Ferrell and,
But just think about it. I mean, you took your bourbon collection and you ended up selling it and making some money off that thing too. Like that's crazy to think about that you had enough bourbon to make a decent amount of money, like when you sold it. That's crazy to think about.
Right. Yeah. I think I might have been able to get a little bit more out of it. I think I might have let it go for too cheap, but at that point I was just ready for it to go. So I was like,
I think that's like the true, the true instance or example of I am definitely quitting drinking, because you took something that you worked to build, that collection, and you're just like, it's gone.
Right.
Like that's like, they say the first step is admitting it. I think the first step is putting it on Marketplace. Maybe that's like the third or fourth step. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
pretty much.
But at the same time, though, I mean, I always knew that you took care of your mom, but I didn't know that you took care of your dad as well. That's pretty crazy. I mean, to have to do that and still be your own adult.
Well, I didn't have to. Yeah, I didn't have to until he fell and broke his hip. He still pretty much took care of himself, and I mean, even up until he passed away, in March, he was still trying to get up and walk and do, get up and go to the bathroom, on his own, and
Wow.
he was still, he wouldn't let, he was a tough he's tough.
That's awesome. I mean, it's great to hear that, and I think that also shows where you get your drive from and your motivation. I mean, just being able to have somebody like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And you take care of your mom as well. I mean, that's just it's admirable that you're able to do that.
Well, she took care of me. I owe her. That's the way I see it. I don't look at it as, I look at it as, my job.
Right. And you said it best. She took care of you, and now it's your turn to help take care of her. And it's the circle of life, as cliche as that sounds.
Right.
But I mean, that's what it is.
Absolutely. That is exactly what it is.
And you also found motivation in a girl too, which I had never thought was going to happen from knowing you for a few years. I never thought that was going to ever.
I never thought that was going to happen. But man, with her, it's just crazy because the chemistry was just, I mean, from the moment, you know, I met her, you know, I've never been like a real religious person, but I really feel like over the past couple years, the Lord or the higher power or whatever you want to call him has really put stuff in place to change, you know, divine intervention per se, you know, because there was just so much stuff that with her that was like this, like fate, you know what I'm saying? Like she sent me a friend request on my birthday. She sent me the friend request on my birthday.
She shot her shot. Yeah.
You know, well, she shot her shot, then I shot my shot. It was different. But she sent me a friend request on my birthday, 2018, right? Then I met her in like October or something at a Demon and a Charlie show in Louisville. That was the first time I met her. And you know, of course I was playing Mr. Cool. She said I had resting bitch face. But that's where I met her, and then we'd seen each other a couple more times or whatnot, and then in Ohio, we were opening up for the Lax, and she came to the show in Ohio, and that's where I shot my shot. And then that's where I shot my shot, and told her I had a crush on her, and I don't know, I chased her for a few more months, and then, you know, I found out like her, she had a thing for twos, you know, 222. That was like, and I always had a thing for 222. My pager number back in the day is 222. That was my, you know, like when
For those of you that are listening and don't know what that is, it's a little square box that instead of a phone, people would call and get a hold of you. So
yeah, and so when you called somebody, when you paged somebody from like a payphone or a phone number that they didn't know, you put your code at the end of it so they knew who was paging them. So my pager code was 222. So, and you know, anytime, you know, so that was her, you know, thing too, and then we ended up getting married on 2/22/22.
That's awesome, dude.
So,
and I'm sure she's definitely. I mean, I know Amanda, and she's amazing, but I mean, she had to have been kind of, you know, a good backbone for your whole becoming sober and becoming a better person in general.
yeah, she's been great. She's been great about it. You know, and you know, the thing is she, you know, there was never, oh, you have to get sober, or there was no, you have to get sober, or I'm leaving you, or this, that, and the other. It was me coming to the realization that, look, I'm getting ready to marry this girl. She has 2 kids that I have to be, you know, you know, I've never had to be a dad or anything like that before. I wouldn't even begin to know, but I have to be at least respectable, and someone, you know,
Right.
that I don't need to be getting drunk on the internet. You know?
Yeah, and have her kids stumble on it, and then her kids' friends see it and start picking on her kids and all of that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to think about all that stuff, and I'd never had to, before it was just me.
And-
So, and I never cared when he.
And it's funny because that's how, like, so I knew you literally probably 2 to 3 years before I ever knew your name was not Frank. And this is where you allowed John to be born into the public eye, and that was through TikTok. And you started doing these basically split personality TikTok videos with John and Frank, and then Frank the Tank. And I mean, these things, they were amazing. So to be able to take something that's so negative in your life and turn it around and blatantly make fun of yourself and make something positive out of it is just incredible.
Well, I've always had a real all right, I grew up a fat Jim. Okay. So needless to say, I got made fun of a lot in school growing up. I got made fun of a lot, so, that I guess, when you grow up like that, you learn to make fun of yourself, and you have become like a it's self-deprecating sense of humor to where, when I was a kid, I used to get mad when they'd make fun of me.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, you can't make fun of me. I'm making fun of myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't make fun of me. I've already made fun of you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's always been I've always had.
But the TikTok stuff you're doing, man, is
self-deprecating sense of humor.
So funny. Like to be able to take yourself and split yourself into 3 people and go back and forth and bicker at each other and throw hot dogs at each other, and I mean, it's hilarious. Like, it's absolutely comedy gold.
But that's literally like the thing is I'm just living out the arguments that I have in my head.
It's funny because when I shot the Adam Calhoun and Colt Ford video, and you came and you helped me with it, and Colt Ford like brings it up, and like I'll never forget this, that he's like, yeah, man, he's like, I know, you look familiar, I know your music, and then he's like, but don't you have like TikTok where you're like throwing hot dogs at yourself or something? And like I just absolutely lost it. The fact that somebody who you listened to when you first started music literally knew who you were, but then also knew that you like to throw wieners at your face. Like,
but you got to understand, like Frank the Tank and wieners, they're like synonymous.
I think that's the soundbite that I'm going to use right there for the promo of this.
Frank the Tank and wieners are just synonymous with each other. Like dude, who doesn't like to say the word wiener? Wiener. Wiener. But when I got drunk, oh man. Do you know the story? Do you know the story about me at was at a mud bog? And we played on Friday night, and Saturday I just drank all day, right? And I just decided to go live from the RV.
Mm-hmm.
Went live on Facebook in my boxers eating grilled wieners. I'm just drunk eating wieners.
I never seen it.
These are some good wieners.
Dude, that's so funny. It
was 2019. So when I said there's just wieners and Frank the Tank just go hand in hand. It just is what it is.
So, and it's funny because like you instantly transitioned into doing the TikTok thing, and at the same time, you started, well, and you've been doing it for a while, like dabbling in it, but you started learning photography, learning videography, and that's kind of where your motivation. Right. I mean, you're still motivated with music, but I mean, this is where your current motivation is, right?
Right. I'm creatively bipolar. Mm-hmm. So, like, it really depends on who I'm around. Like, where's my inspiration? You know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm with, like, I love going out and taking photos with my wife. It's one of our favorite things to do right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do. Like, people go out drinking, we go out and shoot photography, so, I really am having, I love shooting photos. I've always loved creating video and creating content. And, my issue is I'm so ADHD trying to stick to that one niche.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I've been remodeling the house out at the farm, and so I haven't had a whole lot of time to make content or work on music or anything, but so I was repurposing old content and posting old content, because if you can't make new content, you got to stay in the algorithm. Just is what it is. So I was repurposing old content that I made back years ago, and then a verse, goes stupid, and so it's like, well, shoot, now I need to make some music. But so I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. I do have an EP that I am working on, a Franklin Embry EP of this. I developed a sound, basically the EP is just gonna be me. Every beat's mine, every verse is mine, no features, no nothing. It's all gonna be me. 5 songs. I hope to get that out this year, but I'm also doing photography and trying to figure out like I said, I'm so creatively bipolar. Like right now I'd really love to just go do vlogs of music.
So bad.
Right now, if I had my way right now, I would just travel the country and doing vlogs of amusement parks and posting POVs of roller coasters and and just but then you got to build a whole new channel for that. You got to get that up to 1,000 we have subscribers, and that's a whole new community.
We have the family channel that we do where we, when we go to Disney or when we went on the cruise, we vlogged the whole cruise every day, and it went really well. But it's like with that, like with our family, like we have to just travel all the time and spend just a shitload of money to create content. I just filmed a video for the family channel when I did the color run last week with my daughter, and so that's going to go on there. But I can't fathom the amount of money that we would have to spend up front to continue to make content, because I don't want to make like a family channel where it's like, oh, today we're just hanging out at home. Like, I want it to be exciting, or else I'm not going to make content. I don't want to just have like a daily diary. Right. I've watched some of those people where I just don't find them exciting. So yeah, like I understand. Like I wish I could just go roller coasters all the time.
I mean, I'm having that same issue with like my main YouTube channel. Like I did a couple vlogs, and they were kind of more daily diary, but I was trying to put more educational stuff in there. Like even the second vlog was like, as TikTok killed the music video, because, since TikTok has, taken off, I don't know. I don't know about other people's, but I know views on my videos have went way down. and
I really started
Oh.
focusing on YouTube
know.
Shorts, and I think
But-
YouTube Shorts is where I'm getting the most traction right now.
yeah, the same. I get some does good. Some if I do something motivational, that normally does good. It's different, and that's the thing with me is like I'm creatively bipolar, like because I can't stick to just one niche. Today I might want to talk about my sobriety. Tomorrow I want to talk about my music. Next day I might just want to rant about something. I'm just all over the place, and I know, like for me personally, I need to niche down.
That's why I wanted to do this podcast the way that it is. That's why I wanted to do Josh Learn Stuff, is because I didn't want to make a podcast where I was talking about photography every episode. I didn't want to make one where I'm talking about social issues and social trending like that. I got bored of those. I got tired of them. So I'm like, what can I do that I'm still providing entertainment and creating content, but it's something different every time. And that's where this is going to land. This podcast is going to land is it's a place where every story that I hear, every person's life is completely different. And I think I'm very excited for this podcast. Let's go ahead and try to wrap this up. Tell them, you said you got the 5-song EP coming out. What else is going on with you currently? Like, drop them some information where they can find some more information about you. Give us some info.
Well, basically, it's Franklin Embry Franklin Embry Music across all social media platforms. Franklin Embry or Franklin Embry Music. 5-song EP. Like I said, I'm working on remodeling the house at the farm. I'm building a studio in the basement that hopefully, like when I get that up and running and open, I don't know if I'm going to be doing more music or video or photography. I guess I'm just going to do what I get hired to do.
Show
at
me
this
the
point,
money.
Hey, if you go pay me, I'm gonna do it. If I need to do some graphic designs, hey man, you need some graphic design, hit your boy up,
dude. I said,
whatever I gotta do, to pay.
I absolutely am honored to have you on here as my first guest. Thank you so much. And it's not just I'm not just saying that.
Hey man, I appreciate you having
to be on the air and say that. Like I seriously do thank you for doing this with me. Like I said, I'm excited for this, and I'm excited to let people hear your story, man. I think we touched on it. I know we could have went probably 5 hours deep and just talking, but I feel like people are better understand who Franklin Embry / John Hayden is.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you having me, man, and I wish nothing but success for the podcast and everything you got going on, being all Hollywood and celebrity photographer you are.
Sunglasses laying around.
Hold on.
Mine are. I left them at home because I'm on the motorcycle.
I can be. I can be Hollywood. All right, now Frank.
That means it's time to end.
Now Frank, thanks.
Everybody listening, man, thank you so much for listening to this first episode. I really appreciate it. I got more coming. I actually have already filmed 2 episodes. I got 2 more that I'm lined up this week and 1 more for next week so far. So I got content coming out. Now, when you're listening to this, I'm going to put out 2 this week, and then starting next week, I don't know if I'm going to go to 1 a week or keep it at 2 a week. I'm going to kind of play it by ear for right now, but it's probably going to end up being 1 a week. Maybe I'll keep it 2 if I can keep the content coming. But I am regularly going to be putting this out. I'm going to be recording multiple sessions at a time and just kind of creating a bunch of content and then just getting it to you. I don't want to oversaturate the listener force, because these are an hour to an hour and a half long, and I don't want to give you too much to listen to. I want you to be able to kind of put it on in the car and maybe listen to it over 2 trips or something like that. So thank you. Hit the follow button. If you're just listening to this, remember they are recorded in video form as well. Check out joshlearnstuffpodcast.com. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. And once again, Frank, thanks for coming on, man. I greatly appreciate it.